By the way, I noticed you don't have a Spitzer bone out there in your lobby.
What's a Spitzer bone?
That's what we call the Spitzer bones.
Oh, yeah.
You ain't got one of those in your lobby.
No, I don't.
I'm going to fix that shit.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
We do have the steppe bison head,
I
though.
saw it out there. It looks nice where it's sitting.
We're trying to figure out how to display it. I think I'm going to have a stand built and just have it sit out there.
I've got people going, oh, he needs to get a Cadillac and mount it on the hood. Well, yeah,
That's not a bad idea.
as long as you don't drive it around.
Once I get a ranch out here, I'll do that. I'll put it on the ranch truck.
There you go.
But I think that's not good.
That could
it
be
needs
that
to
could be
preserved.
The Blue Bay bison was 38,000 years old, and that's they could have known each other back in the day.
Well, it looks old as fuck.
It is old as fuck.
Yeah. What an amazing, amazing spot you have. Do you ever stop and just think how insane it is?
I do when I have people like Eric Spitzer and his daughters show up, and they're just the happiness. They're just so gleeful.
Yeah.
And sometimes I need to see that to remember that what we're doing is kind of worthwhile.
No, it's very worthwhile.
It means that people enjoy it and they like seeing it and they like doing it, and we just haven't figured out a way to let everybody do it.
Well, it just seems to me that this is an extraordinary opportunity to gain some understanding.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't understand why these universities or someone hasn't reached out to you and said, hey, we need to really have a full-scale investigation and find out what happened here. This is an extraordinary place, and it may unlock a lot of pieces to this puzzle as to what happened to humanity. There's clearly some indication that we have a very limited understanding of the history of human beings in terms of what took place, where we're starting to uncover these immense structures that seem to indicate that people had very complex construction methods many thousands of years before we thought they were capable of doing that. Many thousands.
Yeah.
Göbekli Tepe, which is buried 11,000 plus years ago, back when they thought people were hunter-gatherers. And that's just what we found. And that now they've done through LIDAR, that whole area around Göbekli Tepe. They found tons of these things. They're all over the place out there.
Yeah.
And that's how many more of these spots are there on Earth that we just haven't found yet?
Who knows?
Who knows? And your area where that have they done a core sample where they've gone through that carbon layer to find out like what year that all took place yet?
No.
Wow. That seems
And it's partially my fault because I tell everybody, look, until we get our bones back from the bowels of the AMNH, nothing's going to get studied. If they want to do this and continue doing this, they can deal with Drew out there because we're not going to just say, okay, we'll study 20 pieces of this 1,000-piece puzzle. We're just two guys with one giant. My company had 200 giants running at the same time for over 40 years. Recovered tens of thousands and thousands of bones, all of which were taken to New York. 50 tons of which were dumped at least one time in the East River, and maybe more than that.
Now, why did they dump those in the East River? They just needed the storage?
I don't know.
They just had an abundance of them.
They had so many of them, and they said, nobody's going to give us any money for this. I have an idea that's a good cover story for making sure your wealthy donors get a little something and getting them off the books.
Oh, so some of them they dumped and some of them they gave away.
I would think.
I would imagine.
Museums aren't money-making institutions.
Right.
And so I think a lot of the times they get something donated, especially when there's no control at all. There was no control on this, what was going on.
Sort of like when we send money to Ukraine.
Okay.
It's going all over the place.
Yeah, why aren't we sending money to Maui?
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
I've said that many times.
$100 billion to Ukraine. We could have built a gas line from the North Slope to the lower 48 and a water line from southeast Alaska to Northern California and took care of the people in Maui.
Yeah.
And still have some change left over.
Yeah, a lot of change.
But no.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It is. It is. And that's, it seems like what's happening with your bones and your property and the lack of and I don't want to say if it's a lack of interest. I'm sure they're interested, but the lack of action. It's symbolic of a lot of the problems that we have in our society today.
Mismanagement, man.
Massive and a confederacy of dunces that are running the show.
Yeah, they are. And seemingly they don't care what we think.
No. Well, that's, they have too much on their plate. Why are they going to talk about some fucking dude in Alaska who's out of his mind, blowing water into the side of permafrost, pulling out all kinds of crazy skulls?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think, I'm in business, you're in business. We have a divided Congress. We got a little bit more than half that think this president we got should be impeached. We got the other lower, a little bit less than half, not one of them think he should be impeached. So my belief as a business guy is as long as they're fucking with each other, they're not fucking with me. They're leaving us alone.
Right.
And that's kind of what's going on right now.
Boy. Imagine that being the best case scenario in 2023 with all the information that we have today, with AI, with ChatGPT 4.0, soon to be 5, with all the technology we have available, all the understanding that we have available, and we're still just I want everybody to just leave us alone. That's the best case scenario.
It's just they stay busy with themselves, and we want to do what we want.
Yeah, it's better than them helping us.
Yeah, we don't want it.
Yeah.
But if the other part is I don't want to let my bones leave Alaska.
Right, of course.
They never seem to come back.
Right. I wouldn't trust them anymore.
Nope.
And the British Museum, have they given any sort of an explanation of what they did with that saber-toothed tiger skull?
No.
Somebody's probably got that in their living room.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. By George, look what I have here.
Oh, my.
I made a sizable donation to the museum, and they gifted me with this wonderful saber-toothed tiger skull.
In that case, I think the guy never even got back to the museum. I think he just took it home.
Mm.
He was working for him, but they're a bunch of it's like we don't sell bones from the boneyard. We don't sell bones. We've given some bones away. That's because I own them. I can give them away. They didn't own them. Museums don't own them.
So they were supposed to research them? What were they supposed to do? There it is. Saber-toothed tiger skull. Wow. $1 million at auction.
Yeah.
Wow. That's 2019. I know a guy who has one of those. And he's a very wealthy guy. And he actually has a real saber-toothed tiger skull on his desk in a plexi.
I'm waiting for the day that you come and join my side. Put your hands inside of his. It kills me to see you kiss. I guess I thought that we'd have something. So can I ask you, why him? Why him? Why him? Oh, why him? Why him? Oh.